Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of misty morning, nice and clean and fresh. So good, guys. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, possibly a cup of coffee, or maybe something harder, as I always say. Depends on what part of the planet you're on. So today we're going to be talking about the Canon EOS R3 and some of the new features that we just found out that are going into this camera. Rumored, but the rumor is pretty solid. We've heard this for a while, but they're really big, and it might provide direction to where Canon is going. All right, with the Canon, with the EOS R3, with the R1, maybe a Canon EOS R5s. We're going to get into all of that in just a second. But before we do, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded my ebook as of yet, go grab it. 10 tips for making tack-sharp images. There's something there for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're a professional, a pro-am, or an amateur, you're going to get something out of that ebook. And it's free. Go grab it. JCristina.com/ebook. Also, clean those sensors. Aurora Camera Care is a product that I put out about 6 months ago. It's carried throughout the world, and it is a means of cleaning your sensor. It doesn't matter if it's full frame, micro four thirds, APS-C, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to be able to clean your sensor safely and easily. No fuss, no muss. You get cleaners or swabs, both dry as well as wet. So you use the wet first, then you use the dry, and you're done. There's no guesswork, all right? So go pick those up. You can find them over on my website, JCristina.com, Amazon.com, B&H.com, whatever, all over the place, all right? So go pick those up and clean those sensors. So let's get into the two major points that we just received when it comes to this EOS R3. Number one, pixel shift. The sensor will have pixel shift on it, most likely. Rumor. So as I always say, take everything that we talk about with a grain of salt because it is rumors. High-tiered rumors, but still rumors. Most likely these will come to fruition, but until it's out there, it's not out there, right? So we'll just discuss it as is. Now, pixel shift is a major thing because it adds a ton of megapixels. By shifting, if you know how it works, basically it'll take, let's say, 16 pictures and then combine all of them for one massive file. Sony does it. A lot of companies do that. But not only do you get greater amount of megapixels, but you also get better color fidelity because it can change exposure on all 16 pictures and combine them all together, and you end up with this mega thing. All right? So that's really good. Also, the Quad-Pixel that we're talking about is massive. Canon has been just crushing it when it comes to autofocus forever, and that was because of their dual pixel AF. Dual pixel AF came out in, I believe it was 2013, and it was introduced in the 70D. All right, so this is a while ago, all right? You're talking a bit, right? 8-9 years ago. So it's been around for a long time, but has made them a ton of money. They use dual pixel AF as a means to neuter cameras. They just won't put it in if they feel that you didn't spend enough on a specific camera, all right? Or they'll hold it out when it comes to 4K and just remove dual pixel when you're shooting in 4K. There's a lot of stuff that they do with it because it is so powerful. But there's always been a down, let's say, point to the dual pixel AF. And that is that it's basically reading out in one direction. So if you have an EOS R, you know that if you have your camera in landscape mode, and you take a picture of a horizontal line, it has a hard time grabbing it, right? Now, the reason being is because it's reading this way instead of this way, and when it's on this line, it ends, you get it, right? So it's one direction. Quad-Pixel would fix this. Why? Because now you have 4 pixels instead of 2 that is capturing this information. So you can have the horizontal this way, and you can have a vertical capture, so you end up being able to get a really, really not only fast AF system, but a highly accurate AF system. But whenever you do any type of phase detection like this, you lose pixels, all right? Because those pixels are being used for other things. If you don't know how dual pixel AF or any of this works, basically just think about the pixel being cut right into, like splitting the pixel and then using portions of it or 2 portions of it with dual pixel to have 2 light sensitive diodes on there, right? And then each diode has its own separate micro lens, right? That's how it works. Now, instead of having 2, now we make it into 4, right? But when you do this, for example, if you had a 24 megapixel sensor, as soon as you use a dual pixel AF system, dual pixel AF sensor, that 24 megapixels becomes about 20 megapixels. So you lose some megapixels by doing this, all right? But the advantage so far outweighs the disadvantage of just using contrast detect. Ask Panasonic, they'll tell you all about it. I don't have to throw a dig into Panasonic all the time, but sometimes I like to, right? Get it together, Panasonic. Dual pixel, right? Phase detection. God. Anyways, back to the story here. So quad-pixel AF would be massive. Pixel shift, also massive. 45 megapixels in this EOS R3. So, once again, we have the Ouija out. We have some cards being pulled. We're trying to ascertain what will be the final result of this. Where does Canon go with it? Now, we know that the EOS R3 with the 45 megapixels will have 8K. So now we have 8K out of the mix. I've always said that an R1 would not have 8K. It would have probably 4K, and the readout would be blistering fast, all right? Probably around 30, 40 frames per second, right? Really fast unit, just like they did with a 1D. A 1D has a very small number of megapixels, low megapixel, period. But where it doesn't have all the megapixels, it shines in just functionality. It's just so fast. It's a beast, an absolute beast. So I could see them doing the same thing with the R1 as they did with the 1D. Keep it to a low megapixels, maybe 30 megapixels, 28, I don't know. Once again, we're pulling some cards here. We're speculating. We're reading the tea leaves, guys, reading the tea leaves. So will there be an R1? I think there'll still be an R1, even though we see that this R3 is going to have 45 megapixels and 8K. That to me means that this could actually possibly circumvent a Canon EOS 5DS replacement, which would be a Canon EOS R5s. Right? Which would be their high megapixel camera, like an 80 megapixel, 100 megapixel, 120 megapixel camera. We've talked about this in past shows. And while I think that we will see a high megapixel camera, I don't know if this might be it. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. They could use this pixel shift technology as being their high megapixel addition to their lineup, like a 5DS replacement. But I still think even with this camera, as it sits, and all of the new added benefits that we're seeing now with pixel shift as well as quad-pixel AF, I still think that we're going to see a Canon EOS R5s that will have 80, 100 proper megapixels on a sensor. I think that we're going to see it. And I think we're also going to see that R1 as being that flagship beast, just blistering fast, very close to a global shutter because the readout is so damn fast, maybe even with a quad processor in it in comparison to 2 processors. Most likely we're going to see this Canon EOS R3 with 2 processors and not 1, because as we can see, there's a lot going on there. All right, we're going quad pixel AF, we're doing pixel shift. Everything, every time you add stuff to a system, you need more processing power. We're getting back to that AI technology. If we want AI in these cameras, we have to have a processor as quick as the processors that we see like in your iPhone. And currently, all camera processors are literally like 1/10 of the speed of an iPhone. All right, they're just not there. They don't have that processing power. So anyways, these are my predictions. This is what I think is going to be going on. I want to know what you think. Do we see a Canon EOS R1, right? Do we see that coming out? Do we see a Canon EOS R5s, that high megapixel? And what do you think about quad pixel AF as well as pixel shift on this 45 megapixel Canon EOS R3? What are your thoughts? So anyways, guys, that's it for today. please give this a thumbs up if you got anything out of it. Also, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, hit this button, do all that stuff right up here. If you click that button when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. Also, if you want to help the channel, click the little join button right down here, right? When you join, you become a member. I can give you perks. You can give the channel $1 a month, $2, whatever you want to help out. That would be most appreciated. Also, head over to community.jcristina.com, community.jcristina.com. That is our creative Discord server. Go check it out. A lot of great people over there. Also, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be awesome. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.